Welcome to the Big Picture, Lecture 2. At the end of this lecture, you will be able to clearly articulate what climate change refers to. You will be confident in identifying the main causes of climate change. And you will also be able to describe the major consequences of climate change. But first, let us review some recent extreme events which have all been linked to climate change. In January 2021, the city of Madrid in Spain experienced the worst snowstorm for 50 years. In February, strong winds from Mongolia caused a major sandstorm in Beijing and northern parts of China. Record-breaking temperatures lingered over Oregon during a historic heatwave at the end of June. In June, the San Gabriel Reservoir, located in the San Gabriel Mountains in the United States, was nearly empty due to severe drought conditions. In July, Canada experienced record temperatures, with the town of Lytton in British Columbia reaching a high of 49.6 degrees Celsius. Residents were evacuated as raging wildfires devastated the town. Here we see a man rides a makeshift raft in the middle of an inundated road in Nepal. The unseasonal rains brought flooding to many parts of Central Asia. This aerial picture shows a burnt forest in Siberia. Severe floods completely destroyed this area in Western Germany. The death toll from devastating floods in Europe exceeded 242, mostly in Western Germany, where emergency responders were frantically searching for missing people. Firefighters in Greece tried to prevent fires from destroying hundreds of homes on the island. In Brazil, a massive dust storm engulfed the city of Frutal. The dust storm was seen in several cities across the southeastern region of Brazil, followed by heavy rains across the area. Super Typhoon Rai devastated Surigao City in the Philippines. One-third of Pakistan is underwater following catastrophic floods in August 2022. Scientists claim that many of these extreme events are occurring more frequently because of climate change. You will notice that we have referred to climate change a lot without actually defining what it is. Let us define climate change next. In this course, we will adopt the definition of climate change by the United Nations. According to the UN, climate change refers to long-term shifts in temperatures and weather patterns. UN experts suggest that human activities have driven the shifts in temperatures and weather changes. These experts further suggest that the burning of fossil fuels is the main cause of climate change. In other words, human activities that involve the burning of fossil fuels are the main causes of climate change. One legitimate question to ask is, why is there so much focus on fossil fuels? Analysis by the expert for the UN have found that the burning of fossil fuels generate greenhouse gases that act like a blanket wrapped around the Earth. This gas blanket traps the sun's heat and causes temperatures to increase. It is worth noting that carbon dioxide and methane are typically referred to when we discuss greenhouse gases. Other greenhouse gases are ozone, nitrous oxide, water vapor, and chlorofluorocarbons. The experts at the UN are adamant. The climate situation is critical. The Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, a UN body of experts, suggests that greenhouse gas emissions are at their highest levels in 2 million years. As a result, the Earth is 1.1 degrees Celsius warmer than in the late 1800s. As we have seen earlier, climate change impacts are becoming more and more evident year after year. In fact, the following consequences of climate change have already been observed in various parts of the world: flooding, rising sea levels, declining biodiversity, melting polar ice, water scarcity, intense droughts, catastrophic storms, severe fires. Some countries will feel the impact more than others, and some countries contribute more to climate change than others. These 10 countries contribute to 68% of global emissions. Please note that the table shows cumulative emissions since 1850. A similar picture emerges when we look at emissions per person in each country. A natural question follows: what is the source of these emissions? As indicated in this chart, more than 70% of fossil fuel emissions come from the burning of coal and oil. So far, we have identified many problems. Have the experts proposed any solutions at all? In fact, solutions do exist. Many experts all over the world have worked over many years with a multitude of stakeholders to develop global frameworks that can be used to guide our actions. Frameworks such as the UN Sustainable Development Goals and the Paris Agreement. These frameworks have identified 3 broad categories of actions that the world should focus on. They are: 1. Find ways to cut emissions. 2. Adapt to climate change. 3. Develop creative financing tools to fund the investments needed to adjust to climate change. Just because these solutions have been identified does not mean that they are being implemented. In fact, the transition adjustment period will be a painful one for many industries. With frequent storms and fires, the insurance sector will have to deal with rising claims. The oil and gas sector will be left with stranded assets as the world demands less fossil fuels. Pressure to reduce tailpipe emissions will see more demand for electric vehicles. Weather changes could impact yields and activity in the agricultural and food sectors. We have covered quite a lot so far. Let us recap. What have we learned? First, we gained clarity on the meaning of climate change. In particular, we now understand that climate change refers to long-term shifts in temperatures and weather patterns. Second, we learned that greenhouse gas emissions cause global warming. We saw how climate change have real consequences. Finally, we gained some insights into how industries are impacted by climate change. Take a moment to reflect on the consequences of climate change. This is the end of the lecture. Please complete the quiz before moving on to the next lecture. Thank you and see you in the next lecture.